Is liberty dying where you live? Escape to Keene at freekeene.com.
Renee LeBlanc? Yes?
No.
Yes what?
I have not spoken with him, but I do not believe that he will speak with me.
Well, certainly speak with it.
Okay, all right. How about,
You come in and you get one other person with that.
I would like this on the record.
Yeah, no, you can't, I don't consent to, this is not an open hearing, it's a pretrial conference. If you want to do that at a trial, that's fine, you can, that's up to the judge, but I don't consent to it.
Well, it doesn't matter if you consent.
Okay, actually, it
You're having
does.
a conversation with somebody, you're a government bureaucrat,
Okay.
you should be on the job and on the
You
record.
can go ahead and ask for a trial date, I'll put you down for a trial. Okay, thank you.
So they pretty much refused.
Matthew Lyons, please.
So this is an interesting legal case in which the prosecutor is
Matthew
refused
Lyons?
to defend him.
Oh, she can meet with me by herself or one other person, but that's
So much
it.
for
It's not-
transparency,
It's not
huh?
going to be videotaped, so have a nice day.
You still like to try.
What's your name, sir?
Possible.
Matthew here?
No idea. Just the audio.
I think my chief's in the office right now, you can probably go talk to him.
You're a police officer?
I am.
Yeah, so you should be on the job on the record then, just like every other government bureaucrat.
Thank you, bud. How you doing? Vint Bogus. Vint Bogus.
Hello.
Vint Bogus,
How are you?
how are you?
Good.
All right, so we got a speed trial, looks like. So what's the issue?
Well, I don't believe that I was going as fast as he said I was. I don't know if his radar wasn't calibrated or what, but he claims that I was going over 50 in a 30 zone.
I think he said 54.
Yeah. And he claims that he took that down a notch so it would, like he was doing me a favor because I would get a larger fine. It wouldn't pull my license. And
Yeah,
I-
he said he wrote for the 20 over instead of
right.
24 over.
And frankly, I feel like that's an insult to my intelligence because when I'm the only car out on the road at 1 in the morning going through a small town where I know there will be a cop on Route 101, I'm not going to be going 50 downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, well, we can have a trial.
yeah.
Okay?
Do you have any offers that usually?
Well, I mean, the officer already gave her a break. Okay, so she's looking at, unfortunately, 103.33. So I can ask the officer, you know, do you have any, looks like you have a pretty good record, I don't see any, first ticket.
I know sometimes offers of a driving course or such are offered.
That is done, let me talk to the officer.
Although I'm not too interested in that, I do have a full-time job, so.
Okay, well, we'll just have a trial then.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. See you in there.
Renee LeBlanc?
We're ready for trial, Your Honor.
Okay. Who's this with you, Mr. LeBlanc?
This is Garrett, who's in council.
I'm Garrett Ian. I'll be standby counsel for Ms. LeBlanc.
And what's your relation here?
I have some experience with court procedures, and Ms. LeBlanc asked for my assistance if needed.
Well, I don't have any, so no appearance was filed, no motion for appearance was filed that I know of.
Well, I mean, there are rules for how you have somebody represent you, Mr. LeBlanc. We usually need to have some background about the person who's going to be assisting you. So,
He's not representing.
I guess that's the concern. You know, we don't know anything about this gentleman.
Well, I don't plan on having him represent me. Like you said, just stand by counsel. I plan on asking him questions myself.
Well, if you want to sit there at the table, you're welcome to, sir, but I don't think you're going to be able to participate in this hearing.
I concur.
Okay, so both of you are welcome to have a seat there. Are you all set to proceed then?
All set, Your Honor.
Sergeant? Okay.
State Calls Officer George Zanakis.
Right up here, please, sir. Would you raise your right hand there, please? Do you swear your testimony here will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Have a seat if you would. Would you begin, sir, by stating your full name and spelling your last name, please?
So Officer George Zanakis, last is spelled Xenakis.
Go ahead, Sergeant.
How are you employed?
The Peterborough Police Department.
And how long have you been self-employed?
For 2 years now.
Okay, and how long have you been a police officer?
Stayed in New Hampshire just over 4 years.
Okay. Give me a brief recitation of your education, training, experience as it relates to law enforcement.
I attended the New Hampshire 260th Part-Time Academy, the 158th Full-Time Academy, taken numerous amounts of courses and trainings after which I've been employed for Peterborough.
Okay, encompassed within that training was your training on motor vehicle
Yeah.
laws and enforcement?
Yes,
Okay. And in the part-time academy, were you trained on the use of radar?
I was.
Okay. And were you certified?
Part-time and into the Full-Time Academy.
Okay, so you've been certified 2 different occasions?
I have.
Okay. Taking you back to May 26th, 2014, approximately 1:30, 1:39 in the evening, in the morning. You work for Peterborough PD?
I was.
Were you in uniform?
I was.
Were you in a mock cruiser?
Yes, I was.
Okay. At about that time, anything out of the ordinary happened?
I was conducting stationary radar off of Wilton Road, just east of Granite, pull up.
Okay, what road is that?
That's Route 101 in Peterborough.
Okay, also known as?
Wilton Road.
Okay. We asked the court to take notice, which is notice that Route 101, also known as Wilton Road, is away.
It will, yes.
Before you start your shifts, you're running radar, you said?
That's correct.
Okay, what do you do? Is there anything you do as a normal course of conduct before your shift, during your shift?
There
With
is.
regards to radar?
There's,
What is that?
it's to check the radar.
And how do you do that?
Internally and using the tuning forks that's provided in each group.
Okay, and did you do that in this evening?
I did.
Okay, and how was the radar working?
It was functioning normally and properly.
Okay, and which radar were you using?
It was 1A,
So that would be in which car?
cruiser number 1.
Okay. All right, so taking you back about that time, what happened?
I was conducting stationary radar. I noticed a vehicle traveling westbound on 101
Mhm.
in the passenger at a speed of 54 miles an hour passing at that time.
Okay, and how do you know that's the speed?
By my radar.
Okay, and did you have clear tone?
Clear tone, clear audio, clear visual.
Was there any other vehicles in the sight picture of the radar?
There wasn't.
Okay. Obviously late at night,
It wasn't.
not much traffic.
Not that area, no.
Okay, so describe where you were parked.
Right off Wilton Road, which is 101, there's a dirt pull-off just east of Granite Street, well into the 30-mile-an-hour zone. Officers sit there
Okay,
all the time.
and you say it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone?
It is, clearly.
How do you know that?
Clearly posted.
Yeah,
On both sides.
okay. And from where you're sitting, what is the speed limit before that?
But before heading eastbound,
If you were heading eastbound, so where she was coming from?
yeah, it's where I was sitting was 30, and where before that is 40.
Okay. Okay, so what did you do?
I activated my, I pulled out, activated my emergency blue lights, and I subsequently stopped the vehicle on Dublin Road by Hatch. Dublin Road is also.
Okay, do you remember what kind of vehicle that was?
Yeah, it's a white Honda Elantra, I believe.
I'm sorry, again, where did you stop that?
I stopped the vehicle after the intersection where the lights are, Dublin Road by Hatch.
Okay.
It's a safe spot to pull over.
And did you make contact with the driver?
I did.
And were you able to identify the
I
driver?
was.
And how was that?
I had a license.
Okay. Did you have a conversation with her?
I did.
Okay. Do you see her in the courtroom today?
I do.
Well, that's the court take notice that, could you point her out and describe her?
It's the lady sitting at the table next to the gentleman, the guy.
Okay, what's he wearing?
It's a black sweatshirt with glasses.
Okay. That's the court to take notice that Officer Sinakas had identified Mr. Blank.
Yes, it would.
Okay, and who was she when you read the license?
Renee.
Okay, and so what did you do then?
I explained the reason for the stop, and asked her if she knew the speed limit or how fast she was going. She stated that she thought the speed limit was 40, and she thought the speed limit was 40.
Okay. And what did you tell him?
I said it's incorrect, the speed limit was 30, she was going 50.
Okay. And so what did you do then?
She explained that she was coming back from Ranch Vegas in her home. I returned to my cruiser, wrote a summons. I wrote the summons, I cut her a break. She was going 54 and a 30. I dropped it down to 50 and a 30 and wrote her a summons for 103.33 instead of the full $267 fine.
Okay. And did you explain the summons to her?
I did.
Okay, nothing further at this time?
Mr. Blank, do you have any questions you'd like to ask the officer here?
I do. So, can you repeat how you knew it was that I was allegedly speeding?
What's that?
Can you repeat how you knew I was allegedly speeding? You said radar, right?
That's correct.
So was it a clocked radar? Like you clocked it?
I don't understand.
You clock radar, right? Like you can clock it 34 miles per hour.
34?
What were
Just-
you using to determine the speed, Mr. Officer?
The stationary radar that's in the cruiser. It wasn't a radar gun or anything, it was the radar that's in the cruiser.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with police equipment. So how do you know it was fully accurate?
Tested it in the morning, as I explained earlier.
All right. And was I driving erratically or unsafely?
You were speeding.
Were there any complaints prior? Did somebody call in a complaint about my alleged speeding?
About your driving?
I'm sorry?
About your speeding?
Yes.
You're asking if another person called and complained?
Yes.
Not that I'm aware of.
So there was just about nobody else on the road. No other traffic really.
I don't know if there's no, in the area that we were, no, there was, you were the only guy.
Right. So that being said, did I hurt anybody?
What's that?
Did I hurt anybody with my vehicle?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, who is the alleged victim? Have I caused a victim here today?
Repeat the question.
Have I caused a victim here today?
Have you caused the victim?
Yes.
I don't understand.
If I've not hurt anybody, then there is no victim. So how exactly have I committed a crime here?
You were speeding, right?
Is that all right? So, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask some more questions about the radar. Was it properly calibrated?
Are you asking if I tested it for my shift?
That's calibration, right?
Yeah, I tested it internally and both externally.
When was the device last? Is there an external third-party calibration? So, if I may read this, This radar was last calibrated for the Peterborough PD on January 15th, 2014. This calibration expires January 31st, 2015. Is there any way that something could have gone screwy in the radar by May?
What was the last part of that question?
Could the radar have been messed up in any way by May? It had been 4 or 5 months since it had last been tested.
Not that I'm aware of.
But it's possible.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Would you like this?
Sure.
Well then. Well, I appreciate you dropping the original speed down for a lower fine, but why not just a warning?
I have discretion. I believe it take a big enough break as it was.
No further questions.
All set?
A minute? No. Few
Nothing
more,
further?
few things, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Okay. If I may approach,
Yes?
take a look at that document. It's the document she just read to you.
Yep.
And you see, is that radar and calibrated by an third party, external third party?
So radar was calibrated for Peterborough PD on January 15th, 2014. The calibration expires January 31st.
And the reason why, isn't the reason why you check the calibration every day to make sure there's nothing wrong with it?
That's correct.
Okay, and on that day, was the calibration fine when you did your
It's
checks?
functioning normally and properly when I checked.
Your Honor, we ask that be entered as Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Blank?
No.
Okay, anything else, Sergeant?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Blank, any other questions?
I do have one more question. Do you remember me saying to you that I did not believe that I was going over 50 miles per hour?
Do I remember that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I think, Officer, your testimony a minute ago was that you said that Ms. LeBlanc thought she was going about 40 miles an hour.
That's what she
and
said.
That's what the speed limit was, yeah.
That's correct.
Is that what you were getting at, Ms. LeBlanc?
Pretty much, and it does mention in these notes that he wrote the report of action on the case. Yeah. So,
Any other questions?
no further questions.
Thank you, Officer. You can step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sergeant, any other evidence the state wants to introduce here?
State reps.
Okay. Mr. Blank, do you have any evidence you want to introduce here? Okay, well, Ms. LeBlanc, I will make a finding guilty. I think the state has established the speed that you were traveling at the time beyond a reasonable doubt, despite your opinion to the contrary. Given these circumstances, I'm going to give more credibility in all cases to calibrated radar equipment than I am to people's own feelings about what their speed was or what their own speedometer may say at the time. And it does appear that the officer has given you some consideration in this that would cut the speed or the fine basically in half from what it would ordinarily be. So I'll impose a fine totaling $103.33 altogether, which includes the penalty assessment. Are you able to pay that today?
No. Is there any way we could reach a compromise on this?
Well, I'm afraid the time for doing that has come and gone. So the court's not in the business of negotiating the amount of the fine? Are you, when are you going to be able to pay the fine?
Well, if I must pay a fine, I would be interested in doing community service to pay that fine. Or I would also propose that this could go on file.
Well, I'm not going to place it on file. I try to deal with these consistently with people here, and I'm going to impose the fine that is indicated on the summons, given the consideration the officer's already given you. Are you working?
Yes. Yes. And community service is completely out of the question, is what you're saying?
If you're working, yes, it is.
Okay. Then may I have 60 days?
I can give you 2 weeks. Today's the 29th. I'll give you until Tuesday, the 14th of October.
How do you think it went?
That didn't go very well. I tried to negotiate, asked for it to go on file. I knew I was going to be found guilty. Pretty obvious, but I was going to ask for it to go on file, bargain for community service, even suspension of the fine on good behavior, but he was just not having it. I think he knew.
Anything you would have done differently?
I had no idea what I was doing in the first place, so good enough.
So
good enough for a first time.
What will you do differently next time?
More research, just give him more trouble. Maybe file for additional discovery, because it would have been nice to know that they had that up their sleeve. Also, one more thing that I want to point out, I got this in my discovery that I mentioned.
What is that?
This is what the cop wrote, his testimony. Report of action on case. Does this look legible? This is not legible.
It even says not legible on it.
No, I wrote not legible.
All right, thanks. Anything else?
Not really, no.
Okay.
We'd like to invite you to visit freekeen.com. Freekeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. Freekeen.com.
I should be in Keene, New Hampshire with the Free Staters.